Hey everyone, my name is Rachel and today I'll be showing you how to use Paint Tool SAI. Today I'm going to be drawing PrivateFearless, so feel free to grab your drawing tablets or a sheet of paper if you don't have this program and go ahead and draw him with me if you'd like. Other than that, I hope you enjoy. Alright, so first off we're going to start with drawing a circle, and this is going to be the start of his head. Next, you can come down, have a line in the middle, or you can have it to the side. It doesn't really matter. Actually, I'm going to draw him facing, so he's going to be facing this way. There we go. Okay. Right now I am using the pencil tool, and the size is set to 1.3, so if you'd like to use the same size, feel free to do so. Alright, and I'm going to be looking at various references, some of them that I drew. Your first layer is going to be your rough draft, so it's just going to be like a circle and lines and stuff, so it's not going to show any detail at all. I like to do little lines heading towards the bottom point on both sides of the head. This kind of helps with the direction as well, so it just gives that emphasis on it. The next thing that you'll do is you'll bring the opacity down to about maybe 30 or 40%, whichever you prefer, and then hit right above your layer, hit the paper without the pen on it, so that's going to add an additional layer. I'll talk about the line work layer, which is right here, in a bit after we're done with our rough draft. Next, we're going to do the cheek, or the outline of the face. So you can move your size up if it's hard to see the lines. For the purposes of this video, I'm actually going to make it a little bit darker so you can see. So toward the edge or the side of the circle, this is going to be where the curve of the cheek is, and then you can go down like so. And then once you reach this curved point, I'm doing it a little bit beforehand because it is off slightly, but then you'll go and head towards the second point that is on the circle. You don't have to go all the way, but this just gives the indication of his face. Alright, next we're going to put in the eyes, so go ahead back to your first layer. The eyes are about halfway to the halfway in between the top and bottom of the face. So you can do kind of like a curved line that angles down or up. Actually, I'll just do a line just to indicate that the eyes are here. There we go. And then go back to your second layer. And now we're going to start with the eyes. So his eyes are actually kind of sharp, but they also curve at the top. So they start over here. There's kind of like a little, not an arrow, but a sharp point right here, and they go curved like so, and then they also have like a triangle shape at the end. There we go. And then there's a break in between the bottom of the eyelashes and the top, and then you can do the other side like this. So the left side, because he's facing this way again, it's going to be a little bit smaller or a little bit narrower than the right side of his face, because the nose is going to be, it's not in the center of his face. Like, it's not like right here or like centered in between the eyes. It's going to be slightly off to the left, and then you can angle it down and then just do a point. So where you stop the nose it's kind of at the curve of the cheek, so that'll be fine. And then go ahead and do the irises if you haven't already. For my style, it usually takes up almost the entire eye. And then you can have it angled so he's looking like that, or looking, I guess it's more up than looking that direction. And then the pupils go in the middle of the iris, or somewhat in the middle of the iris. So like so. And then you can add the where the light hits, so the shine, and then go ahead and do some cross-hatching lines just to give it some just to show that it's a little bit darker. And there you are. Alright, so his face is covered with a mask, so I'm not going to do the mouth, but if he were to have a mouth, I'll go ahead and show you where it's supposed to be. So the mouth is located slightly above the middle and between the nose and the bottom of the chin. So you can go ahead and like give him a smile if you want. It's up to you. Even though he does have a mask, you can still give that indication of his mouth. So, like that. Or something like that is fine. Alright, so now his mask, or actually I'll start with the ear. So the ear goes above, or kind of meets the eye, and then will end up down here by the nose. So you can start, it goes up and then it curves around and then ends right here. And then you can do that to the other side if you'd like. Now the other side, the ear is kind of hidden, but on this side you can kind of see more of the full ear. There you go. And then you can add some detail to the ear as well. The ear is probably going to be covered by hair, or mostly by hair, so we won't have to worry about the way that it looks too much. Alright, and then I'll just fix that real quick. Okay, so now for the mask. The mask kind of starts up toward the ear slightly, and then it comes down. So think of, if you've seen Naruto, think of Kakashi Sensei's mask. So it goes down and then it curves up above, or not above the nose, but on the nose. And then it's going to be wider on the right side because, again, he is facing this direction. So this part of the face is a little bit less showing. And then his mask comes down and then curves back up toward the ear, like that. Or actually it can just come down. It curves up and then down again. There you go. Because his ear is showing. Okay. So now we're going to start with the hair, but before we actually do the hair, I'm going to make another layer. Again, the reason why we use separate layers is because if you were to put it all on one layer, like if I were to draw the hair and everything, so I'm just drawing like random things of hair, but if we were to do that on the same layer, then you'd have to go carefully around all of the little lines and see how it kind of gets messed up, and then you'd have to go back and fix it. But if you're putting it on a second layer or on a third layer, then you can kind of avoid that, and so I'll show you with how the face and the hair works once we're finished with the hair. So we'll start up here, so a little bit above the eyes, And so he has a point. I'm going to erase that. But he has a point of hair that goes down that's right next to his right eye. And then it comes back up. So it's just like that. It kind of reaches the nose. And then the rest of it is pushed to the side like so. So go ahead and do that. And it actually comes out more. So this little lock of hair. And then you can come back up like this. And then the second part starts next to this point, and then it goes down past his ear. And then over near, a little bit below the cheek. And then you can go ahead and come back up like this. Alright, and then there, I'm going to have this curve in slightly more. Okay. Now we do a thinner lock that's right there. And then we can start on the other side of his face. So this one, it's kind of like a strand of hair, so it's super thin, like that. And then next you have a slightly thicker one that again kind of reaches the same length or can be slightly lower. Okay, so that should be, whoops, there's the second one. Okay, so now we have to do the back of the head. If you want, you can go back to your first layer, and then where the, over here, where the skin goes up, like that, his face goes up, go ahead and make a curve, and this is going to kind of indicate, like, his scalp and everything. So it goes up, and it's okay if it's not perfect, it's just meant to give lines and stuff. I'm absolutely terrible at this. But the end point of the scalp in the back should reach the ear or go around like that. This is just so you know where to put the top of the hair. Okay. And so the top of the hair is going to be slightly above the scalp. I like to do a little, I don't know what do we call it? I don't know, a little piece of hair sticking up, and then his hair, I'm not very good at this. I mess up so much on drawing, but it's okay, or it's not perfect. Anyway, so you'll give it kind of a curve that sticks up, like that. And then the next piece of hair kind of curves down. If I could get it correctly. But it also kind of sticks out too. Hang on. There we go. I think that's probably fine. I can always fix it later. Alright, and then you start, his hair starts coming down like this. Alright. And then it can come down like so. I like to give a little indication of hair as well. So I usually have it sticking up slightly and then it comes down like that, just to give that little emphasis. And then for the other side it kind of sticks out, but it also comes down. If I can, let me make the first layer a little bit more invisible. And then let me erase the arrow too. There we go. Okay. So here we are, kind of goes down. Oops. So you've probably noticed that I left the eyebrow out. I'll definitely get to that. I usually end up doing the eyebrows last. The reason being is because it is one of my weaknesses, one of my greatest weaknesses, and eyebrows and we don't get along. So, alright, so now it's time for the neck. So the neck, try not to give him a pencil neck. Like an example of one would be like super thin like that. That's not really good. You'll want to give him a thicker neck, because males usually have those. So you can start a little bit above the left line where the point is, and then the back of the neck actually reaches where the back of the head is for the scalp, so you can bring that down as well. So, and feel free to mess around with it and fix it if you need to. I'm just going to go ahead and do that for right now. And now we have the start of where the shoulders are. So you can, there's kind of like somewhat of a curve or something right here, and then you have the collarbone that comes in, and then that goes about to the middle, or closer to the middle of, well, not, it goes to like the left side of the neck, I guess you could say, but it's supposed to be in the middle of the chest, or the middle of his body. And then there's a little break in between. If you want, you can feel your collarbone too, if that helps. It's not really a break, but it kind of shows, like in drawings or whatever, that there's a small break. Male, well, you can either have it like attached slightly or put the break in between. It doesn't really matter, as long as you think that it looks good. And now we're gonna do his clothes. So go ahead and make a fourth layer. I'm up one layer, so don't mind me. He has a hoodie. I don't usually I haven't drawn the hoodie over his head, just because I'm not very good at that. So I usually leave it down, and so it kind of curves back here. So you can draw a line if you want as a guideline, but then his hoodie comes down, so let's see, comes down like this. So this is going to be a badge for him, so you do whatever you want to the end of it. In all honesty, I'm going to have it go to a point, so it's going to point down here, going to come over here, and then drop. So, and then it'll drop right here, because he does have a shirt, and I would like to show his shirt. Alright, and then you can, I'm going to erase the guideline, but can come over, and then it curves down like this, and then you can show the indication of the wrinkles in his hoodie if you want. I'm not going to close this off just yet, because he does have shoulder stuff, and so we'll need to draw that in too. I'm going to actually put this in a little bit closer to him, and then have his hoodie come around. And then, so it'll give that indication of it coming right here. And then the point can be right here. Now the shirt comes down around here. There is a line of black, so make sure that you have a rim set up, and then you can just have a black stripe that goes straight down. There you go. And then next we have his shoulders. So his shoulders are kind of like, they're not necessarily square, but I don't know, they're kind of like this. So they have the rim like so. I'm actually going to move this over more just to show it. There we go. Okay, so it does have, in my imagination, it has a little flat area so that you can do a pentagon if you want. If you're not good with perspective like me, just wing it, and I'm sure it will turn out fine. Or if you want it to be easier, simply just do like a curved thing. You don't have to put the little pentagon in at all. So it's whatever you feel most comfortable with, or whatever you want it to look like. So, and then it comes down like that. Okay. There we go. And then if you feel that you are having trouble with drawing it, you can use the, what is it called again? The selection tool. Hit Control C, and that will copy what you, actually, let me go back. That will copy what you've selected, and then you can hit Control V and it'll paste onto the same area. Next, you can go up to Layer, which is next to File, Edit, and Canvas, and then go down to Flip Horizontally, and then you can hit the Transform tool, or the Selection tool again, and hit Transform, and bring it over to the other side. So that's just something useful that I've learned, especially if you're having trouble with certain things, then I definitely recommend using it. Don't worry if it's considered cheating. It doesn't really matter as long as the end result looks good and as long as you're happy with it. So if you're happy with it, honestly, that's all that matters. Okay. So I'm actually just going to leave that. This area is probably going to be covered up. If you do not have Manga Studio 5, I would recommend Googling to see if you can find fonts. And then I think there's a few websites that allow you to type a name and then you can copy it or download it onto your computer, and then you can put it in Paint Tool SAI. And then that way you can have his name right below. So for badges, I usually have the names like right underneath. You've probably noticed. Okay. So, and then you can go back and fix some stuff up if you'd like. I do need to make his eyes a little bit narrower. Oh, whoops, my bad. Wrong layer. Okay. There we go. Alright, I think that looks good so far. If you want, you can hide your layer 2 if you haven't done that already. The next part of it is we're going to, oh, I need to add another thing of hair. Where's my hair? Okay. Here we are. I have to finish his hair, and then you can erase this little part of his clothing. There you go. Just like that. So this is going to be, we still need to do the line work layer, just to make it look nice. So the lines look neat. Feel free, if you really like the way that your rough draft looks, go for it. I mean, you can use those lines too. It might be a little bit difficult to color in with it though, especially if it's very liney. But you can try. In this video, I'll teach you everything, so how to color and all of that jazz. Okay. So I'm actually going to add slightly more hair because I feel like he needs more hair. If you like the way that he looks from your perspective, that's fine. You don't have to fix anything. Alright. So notice that I'm not doing anything that's below here. I'm just going to leave that blank. Okay, so now for the eyebrows, the bane of my existence. So I think I'm going to have him You can either have eyebrows that go up, or you can have him kind of like serious mode, like how I'm going to have him, just because he's a ninja, and I feel like he should be serious. Alright. There you go. You can either have the eyebrows show through the hair. I'm just gonna leave it without the showing through the hair this time. I usually draw the full eyebrows, but it's fine the way it is. Alright, so now for the fun part. We get to do line work. So if you haven't already, make sure that your first layer is hidden. So you can click eye icon over here and that will hide the layer. The next thing that we're going to do is you can either go up to layer at the top next to file edit canvas and you can hit merge visible layers, or you can hit spam Control E until all of them are together. So it should be one thing. So now if I were to go over it in a line like this and then I mess up, oh no, I have to erase it, then everything that is with the line gets erased. The reason being why I merge all of them is because I have to put the opacity down, probably to about 40%, or I'd say maybe 30, just because you want it really light so you can see where your line is over the top of it for your next layer. If you want to, you can go through each layer and bring it down to about 30%. It's completely up to you and what you feel comfortable with. But now we're going to move on and go ahead and click the sheet of paper with a pen. This is called a line work layer. Alright, so for the size, I have it set at 7.0. This is going to give thin lines, which I really like, but don't make it too thin, otherwise you won't be able to see the lines at all. So I like this line size. You can also do whatever you want. Make sure your density is set to 100 so that it's completely black and you can see it. Also, just to mention, when you are using the pen tool, which is the one that I use that's set to 7, let's say if you make a line you're trying to do his cheek, but it's out like this, you can hold shift. Make sure you go down to the very bottom point. The way you can tell which point you're on is it lights up as red or pink. And then, so you're holding shift and then you can move it. So you can move the entire line. I find this extremely useful when you're trying to outline stuff. Let's say you only wanted this area of your line moved. You can hit Control and then bring it around like that. So if you happen to be slightly off, it's okay, or if you only want to use that, go for it. Alright, I'll see you in a bit.